Hey everybody, it's Brian here with Engadget. We are here at CES 2013 in the Las Vegas Convention Center lobby, and I'm happy to say that we've actually outlasted the floor. I think the floor is either, they're rolling up, they're literally rolling up the carpets on the LG booth right now. So we've managed to actually outpace the floor. We've got one final interview. George Yu,
Hi, Brian.
thanks for joining us. You're here with your company's Node. How has this show been thus far? Well, I guess how has the show been now that the show is over?
It's been great. I think I went around the show, showed it to a lot of people. A lot of tired legs and exhausted voice.
You're one of you're one of sort of a group that I think I've been the most fascinated with at the show are these people who, the smaller companies. I mean, I can't imagine how much it actually costs to rent out a booth on the show floor, but it's it's certainly astronomical. But people who come out to Las Vegas for the sole purpose of meeting people like us and meeting business investors and things like that. But it's kind of become your show, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think this is where the key innovation is. I mean, the big guys do the TVs, but then us as entrepreneurs create some really unique products that doesn't exist anywhere else.
So what was your main purpose for coming to the show? I mean, was it media coverage? Was it being on a big, overly bright stage, or was it to meet with people who could actually potentially produce this as a sort of a mainstream product?
Well, I think our goal in the show is really to get market awareness. I mean, as any small startup entrepreneur is to get the word out. And so that's our key purpose. Come here, talk with media, talk with other people who may be interested in something like this.
So you're also part of the group of crowdfunded success stories, actually twice over, right? You've had 2 successful Kickstarter campaigns?
That's correct. We ran one back in February 2012, and ran another one in November. The first one was actually on the base concept itself, and the second one is a add-on to the original.
And what made you decide to go that route? I mean, why not through sort of a kind of a more traditional manufacturing route?
Well, I think these days it's difficult to get a hardware system funded. I mean, you go talk to investors. I mean, there's a lot of pushback in terms of, is there anybody going to buy it? Why would anybody pay for it? And so I think Kickstarter really lends itself to help us as entrepreneurs to really change that dynamic. You run a Kickstarter campaign, people know, the investors know that there's a market out for it.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on this earlier, a little kind of offhandedly, but innovation is hard at a big company. I imagine it's easy to point to something successful that you've done in the past and maybe make some slight tweaks to that. I mean, this is, at least as far as I've seen, there's nothing quite like this on the market. So who would you even approach for something like that?
Well, I think beyond Kickstarter, there's angel investors. And I think that's really a key part of the startup growth process, where you go to a VC, you're not quite ready. With Kickstarter money, you're not quite ready to go to VC yet. But rather, if you find a few people that really believes in the concept, Kickstarter plus some angel investment can take you a long ways.
Maybe this is just from my experience, but it seems like certainly when I think of angel investors, I tend to think of software startups. It's it's so much harder to get hardware launched than software.
Absolutely.
And you did both.
We did both. We did with the software and
let's
hardware.
start by talking about the hardware. So you mentioned the base.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I guess this one's kind of active right now, so I'll move this one over. So I mean, simplest question is, what is the Node?
The Node is a Bluetooth 4 or Bluetooth smart sensor that links with your iPhone or iPad. It has motion sensor in the base, and then also have interchangeable sensor module at each end.
These are the nodes, really?
These are the aluminum parts. So this is what a sensor module looks like.
So we're gonna hold that up here if you can get this to this camera. So these are, I mean, it's really, you need a screwdriver to work these things. You
Right.
you need a Phillips head to screw them in and out. The brain is kind of in the center, and we've got, I mean, this turns your phone into a barometer you've got on there. This is is this a thermometer we've got going right now? So
That's a thermometer.
Let's try this out. Joe, oh come on! All right, we'll do this to ourselves. Can you hold up the
Sure,
iPad
of
for
course.
me? Okay, so
You can point it.
there we go.
So
All
that
right.
gets your skin temperature.
You're running a little cold right now.
No, actually, your skin temperature is a little bit cooler.
Okay. So there we go. So I mean, really, I mean, again, I think one of the things that really interests me about this is that this is, it's a platform, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's just this brain, and there's any number of potential things that you could do here with this.
Right. Well, we really took the unique approach of saying, you can design very specialized devices. For example, with the Fitbits of the world, they're very small, they're very friendly, but we understood where we separated the whole brains and communication with the actual sensing piece. So we said we're going to separate them, thereby this can be reach an economy of scale for the brains of it, and the sensing piece is just application dependent.
That's interesting, actually. When we talk about things like economy of scale, I'm wondering, like, I keep going back to the razor analogy of like maybe this isn't really the thing you're selling. Maybe the thing you're selling are the nodes, are the sensors themselves, right?
Absolutely, there's some of that going on. I mean, we really try to make the entry point as low as possible for people to buy the base, and then really try to enrich our platform with additional sensors, software, and integration with third-party developers.
So when we talk about the brains, I mean, what is that? I don't want to actually point this in anybody's eyes, but what is actually in this thing, like
Well,
in the base itself?
Well, it has a rechargeable lithium polymer battery, has interface with Bluetooth, as well as a little processor.
But like accelerometers, are those in there as well?
We have accelerometer, magnetometer, and gyroscope.
So there's a certain amount of functionality you've got on here, even without the sensors on the end.
Absolutely.
I kind of want to talk about this right here because this is your second Kickstarter campaign.
This is our second Kickstarter
in a way.
campaign.
Is it this guy?
It's the one with the black ring.
Yeah,
Yes.
this on top. Okay.
Yes.
So actually, I'll ask you this right now, as we're trying to work this. How do we switch between sensors?
Well, current method of switching, we took a little bit more conservative approach on this one, where you take two screws and take them off, and you literally just pop it
Oh,
off.
I mean it in the sense of that we have two sensors loaded on here. So how do I toggle between the two?
Oh, it's completely operated by software.
Okay, so if I wanted to, I was using temperature a minute ago.
Right.
If I want to do color, how do I do that?
So you just flip it over. Let's say I want this color, and
Let's get this. Yeah.
So then,
Here, I'll hold it up.
excellent, thank
It's
you.
teamwork.
So then you just click on the chroma, that's what's the module called, and you press scan, and bam, that gives you the color of that
Okay.
palette.
Let's just to prove that this is a real deal. Can we throw it on like the table, for example?
Yes, you'll get a grayish white.
There you go. All right. So that's really cool. What else is? So that's coming soon. That's not available now. The color. Or
It
that
is available now.
It is available. What is currently available for the node?
So we have a LED strobe light that's programmable. We have a weather sensor that measures barometric pressure, elevation, ambient light, humidity, and ambient temperature. And we also have an infrared thermometer that looks at surface
Yeah.
temperature, which we just showed. We also have this color sensor we call Chroma. And we just rolled out a line of chemical gas sensors. Carbon monoxide,
Oh.
car exhausts.
That's handy. I know there are. I don't know how much this would actually adhere to. Actually, that brings up the question of of things like regulations. Something like a carbon monoxide sensor. There are certain states with laws in place where you need a carbon monoxide detector.
Right.
In your home, and I'm wondering if there's hoops you have to go through to come out with something and market it as a carbon monoxide detector.
Right. That's why right now we haven't jumped through all the hoops yet. We're not marketing it as a safety device. It's purely just a use it as is device.
But something you're looking at, I assume?
That is something we're looking at.
And again, when we're talking about platforms here, I think beyond, I assume that near term, probably for the foreseeable future, most of these nodes are going to be proprietary. Are you open for third party if somebody else wants to design a?
Of course.
Yep.
Of course.
Also, when we talk about platforms, this is one of those things you put out in the world, and you wait to see what people can do with it. I mean, is there anything that's kind of excited you that you've seen people use the Note for so far?
Yes, we're actually going to showcase a third-party app here that somebody put together in 4 days. And so this app is called Paint Pro. Paint Pro is by a small company, also a startup, called Figure 8. They have a huge database of paint matches.
So I assume this works with your current color sensor?
That's correct. So let's say we want to look at, say, this blue, or this blue here.
Nice sky blue.
Mm-hmm. And then you pick which node, which we have quite a few here at the show. And you press scan. And you want to use this color. And
wow.
that gives
You
you
get the swatch name.
the paint color code
Yeah.
for it. So this is
That's
something that our third-party developer put together, and that really enriches the capability of their app, because previously their app is purely doing paint matching using your camera on the phone.
What's the response been like so far? I mean, obviously that's a pretty good step in the right direction. That you've gotten somebody excited enough to actually develop an app for it.
Exactly. I think the excitement is actually quite overwhelming. I think everybody wants to use this for their own purpose. We had a guy in Sweden that's a hot air balloon pilot. He created a little app that tracks his rise and descent speeds based on pressure.
One of the things about this that I've noticed, and I was trying to talk to somebody about this before. It's a hard concept to explain. It's one of those things that I feel like until you're actually playing around with it, it's hard to get the point across. And I'm wondering how do you combat that? Is this something that you've got to just sort of do a lot of legwork and get in people's hands?
Well, I think a little bit better communication on our end will help. But as a new product, you're going to get that kind of reaction. I mean, no one ever had a sensor like this or anything even remotely close to this that can work with their phone. And so we have to come up with something that's a little bit different. What's interesting is we found the professionals receive this very, very quickly. They get it instantly.
Professionals, what kind of professionals?
People who do paint, for
Okay.
example, engineers.
People who need these tools for their jobs.
Exactly. People who understand these tools gets it instantly. And then I think the consumers will slowly pick that up as well.
The other thing is, and this is actually, it's a pretty cool looking piece of hardware, but maybe not the most handy thing in the world. I'm wondering if this is something you're looking, maybe like are you looking to make it smaller? Are you looking to make it a clip or something like that? I mean, is this? I guess my question is really: is this the ideal form factor for something like this?
Well, we designed this form factor primarily for your hand. This is a very comfortable form factor for your hand. Now, it's also a simple form factor in a cylinder. You can really clip just about anything to a cylinder. You can make a case for a cylinder very easily. And so there will be a line of accessories that will be coming out.
What's the commercial availability? I mean, obviously it's a Kickstarter project, so the first people who got it were the people who actually donated. Mm-hmm. How do I get my hands on one of these?
You can actually go to our website and variabletech.com and order one. It's available today.
And I assume you were meeting with some stores, things like that here. That was part of the plan.
Absolutely.
If I'm at home and I have an amazing idea for a sensor, are you open for my ideas?
Of course.
Okay. So I assume that going to the Note site is probably the best way to get a hold of you?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for being our last interview today.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. We got a quick break. We're coming back with the Engadget podcast. It's Billy, gonna be crazy. It's gonna be super crazy. We're gonna have all the editors will be on stage at one point or another. We've got a ton of giveaways. If you're standing around the booth right now, you're at the Las Vegas Convention Center, come back. We got some really cool stuff to give away. It's been a fun, interesting show. It's going to be a fun and interesting podcast, so stick around.